Guys, Coach Love, statement. Keep raising your hand, keep them up.
How's everybody? Good. Well, today was the first day in pads. We had one day in shells on Saturday, and it was a little warmer outside today than what it has been, so I think it was a little bit of a challenge for some of the players. Always is the first day of pads, always is when it's a little warmer outside, but I've been really pleased with the progress that we made, especially with a lot of the young players. I think the coaches are doing a good job of teaching. I think the players are really focused on trying to learn, and what we're really trying to do is keep especially the young players focused on what they need to do to be complete players, not be so concerned about where they are on the depth chart. You know, everybody came here to play, but we're actually protecting them in terms of trying to teach them so that we don't ever put them on the field where they're not comfortable and confident in what they're doing, and they can go out there and play fast. So they got to buy into that. Conditioning is a part of that so that guys have a chance to sustain, and I think that's probably what we struggled with the most today. So, but wasn't necessarily pleased with the first day in pads, but I've been pleased with the progress that we made the entire spring to this point.
We'll start back here with Chris Walsh.
I just want to ask you about a pair of reserve defensive linemen, Raekwon Davis and Jamar King. Just what kind of potential do they have to make a mark on this team this year?
I think both guys have made a lot of progress through the course of last year in terms of the improvement that they made. I think they both had really good off seasons, and I both think so far this spring they've shown some of that improvement. I think the biggest thing with them would be consistency. We feel like both guys can really do it. They haven't been able to do it with the kind of consistency and trusting and believing in, you know, doing the things that they need to do to have the best chance to be successful. And I think that comes with a little confidence and maturity, and hopefully they'll gain that every day in practice. But I think both guys can contribute to the team.
Come back over here with Aaron.
Just wondering what you've seen from the wide receiving group so far, and could Robert Foster have a role in this team?
Well, Robert Foster, you know, had a role in the team 2 years ago before he got hurt, and certainly a guy that would be a real plus for us because of the speed that he has, the vertical ability that he gives us outside. I think he's playing better than he did a year ago, and hopefully he'll continue to improve and have a role on the team. I think we need for him to do that. Some of the young players, Jerry Jeudy has, you know, really done well. Calvin Ridley has had a really good spring so far and is showing a little bit more leadership, and certainly setting a great example with his work ethic, and Cam Sims has done a pretty good job. But that's certainly a group that we've got a lot of good young players, and how they develop will certainly be a key to next year.
What have you seen from Christian Miller, and how much improvement has he made over the offseason?
Well, Christian's done a good job. I think he's gained a little weight, gotten a little stronger. He's been in the program for a while, so I think he's really got a lot of good knowledge and experience. I think the thing that we've always tried to do is get him strong enough that he could go out there and sustain playing at the point, and I think he's made an improvement in that area. He certainly can help us in the pass rush category, and that's something that getting a little bigger, help him turn speed to power, and that'll be certainly something that would help him be a more effective rusher. But we're pleased with the progress that he's made.
Coach, your young quarterbacks have the ability to run. Certainly Jalen showed the ability to run last year, and from what film we've seen on Tua, he's got the same ability. How do you balance non-contact for quarterbacks with putting it in your offense when you go into pads?
Well, I think that one of the things that we do is if the quarterback's going to run the ball, we put him in some, when we do like turnover drills before practice that are basically tackle and strip drills, you know, we'll put the quarterbacks in those drills, so in a controlled situation they're getting hit and the ball's getting stripped. And certainly ball security is something that if we're going to run the quarterbacks has got to be an important thing for them. I don't think it's worth getting a guy hurt in practice trying to prove the point that we're going to make them a little tougher, especially at the quarterback position. But we try to do it with some controlled drills so that they do get hit. And we really have limited to quarterback runs in the spring, and we're really focused on trying to develop a better passing game.
Over here in the middle with Alex.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of new analysts you brought in, Chris and Dan. I guess why'd you bring them in, and what kind of roles do you expect for them to have this year?
Well, we've always had a lot of respect for Chris Weinke. I mean, the guy was a great player. He played a long time in the league. He's very knowledgeable. He's smart. He was a great high school coach at IMG. He went into the NFL and got a couple good years of experience in the NFL. So we just thought he'd, bring some knowledge and experience and certainly be helpful to us off the field and, helping us with game plan. Dan Warner and Ole Miss, do I need to tell our fans or anybody on our staff the issues that we've had with their offense the last couple of years? And always had a tremendous amount of respect for what they do, how they coach it. I think it'll help us on offense and defense to have a guy around here that can add some knowledge and experience to the way they do RPOs. Some of the things they did in the passing game. So I've always had a lot of respect for Dan, and we're certainly glad to have him here to help. And I think those two guys, having coached in high school and college, certainly helps a guy that's coached in the NFL be able to balance some of the things that will help us have a well-rounded, pro-style offense that has the college elements that you need to take advantage of some of the college rules.
Just generally, you've brought in a lot of experienced guys for some of those analyst roles in the past. What's your overall philosophy with bringing analysts in and bringing guys in to help out like that?
Well, we learn a tremendous amount from all those guys. I think that's the number one thing, and I think their knowledge and experience, and they're very much respected. So I think you need different types of people. We have guys that do nothing but break down film. We have guys that do nothing but draw plays, and then we have other guys that can make contributions based on their knowledge and experience, in formulating a game plan. And it's somebody that, the other coaches on the staff certainly respect. So I think that experience is really, really good, and it's a great learning experience for all of us.
Two more, Michael and Mark.
I want to ask about running backs and the depth you guys have at running back this spring. I guess what have you seen so far in spring?
Well, we do have a lot of good running backs. We went from not having very many to having a whole bunch, and I think they've all, done really, really, really well. Jadarius Townsend, we worked a little bit at slot receiver the last two practices. Najee has done a nice job. Brian Robinson has done a nice job. Damian Harris sprained his foot Saturday indoors, but he didn't work today, but he'll probably be back Thursday. But Bo's doing more and more every day. He did quite a bit today in practice, non-contact stuff, but he's sort of gaining confidence. And our goal for Bo is that by the end of spring, he's fully confident that he can do everything that he needs to do. Whether he ever scrimmages or not is really not something that we're that concerned about. But we have a lot of other young guys that Josh Jacobs has done a good job that certainly could use the experience, and I think it's a good problem to have.
We'll wrap up here with Mark.
Yeah, I want to ask you about Ben Davis. What have you seen from him at the outside linebacker spot to make you feel like he could be a possible fit there?
Yeah, he's done a good job. We just felt like Ben athletically might have a better chance to contribute there, and he's done a nice job. And he is athletic, and we're still working him as a nickel backer. We haven't experimented much with him as a rusher, but that may be the next thing we try as well. But I'm very pleased with his progress, and I think he could be a great contributor on special teams as well.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.